Isn't it?
It's insane. Yeah, it's the ultimate. Yeah, this is always kind of good. We can always use this, and it's never prioritized above that, like the Nautilus sometimes is, or the Kench. And it's never like, yeah, I guess. Are we excited about it?
Not massively. I like this. You know, keep Fly onto something that he's comfortable with. We were expecting the Lee Sin to go into the jungle, so this does make some sense. Interested to see what Lehens is going to grab for himself, because of course he has been a mad scientist.
It is Lehens.
Yeah, I want like Nami or something. You know,
oh
something fun.
God.
Give me something fun. Just really crush that lane, because we saw when Leo and Lehens have priority, the game feels so much easier for Afreeca Freecs.
What's it gonna be?
And it's probably not going to be that difficult to grab
I like that.
priority, as there's the Braum. Okay. This gives their team fight a lot of oomph, and certainly gives their, you know, early levels a lot of power as well.
It's really good on multiple levels. Since Varus, even Lethality Varus, has started running the Halo Blades, you can actually proc the Winter's Bite early on.
Yep.
It's nice into engage supports like the Leona, because it neutralizes so much of what they can do. However, Afreeca does run into the issue of not actually having any hard engage outside of a Lee Sin kick and playing into a team that outranges you and has a Kindred ultimate. So this feels more like what I expected to come, or like what I expected to come out of draft in a series like this, where it's Afreeca who actually need to get the leads, and then it's DRX who kind of need to play from there.
We'll see whether they are going to be able to do it. Both of these teams, theoretically, with two marksmen on the roster. Of course, it was as we predicted, Keen playing the Lucian there towards the top side of the map, something that he has caused a lot of ruckus on in the past. But Lucian really has been a mid laner for the, you know, quite some time, right? Feels like all year he's been basically mid. Whereas last year, more likely to be on the top side of the map. Doesn't mean that he can't be flexed up there, and we do mention that he is flexible every single time he comes out, and that just seems to have been what suited the Afreeca Freecs at this point in time. And of course, Fly doesn't really feel like a Lucian player. He's just going to hop back onto the Orianna. And we mentioned before, Mastery player wants to be on something that he's very comfortable on, and this is absolutely fitting exactly into that wheelhouse. As Leo Lehens on this bottom side, we'll see whether the Braum and the Varus are going to have as much power as we saw them wielding with the Ezreal Karma in the last game. Pyosik, though, is back on his namesake in the Kindred. Solka going to come on through with his Victor. We haven't really spoken too much about Solka. I was wondering whether he wasn't feeling well or something like that, and that's why he was subbed out, but it was a bit of experimentation for DRX, and now we are going to see their main roster in full flight, and we'll see whether it does bring us to a Game 3 here on our final match of the first week of LCK Summer 2021. This is a 5-man. I like it. You got Braum. And so therefore, do something level 1.
The Guarding Wolf. I like it. It's not the...
Oh, Kingen actually spotted out Lehens there in the Baron pit. I like it. Keen. This is a wraparound if ever I've seen one.
I mean, Pyosik knows. It's like, you see Lee Sin walking up here like,
yeah, they got pings all over him, but he's still walking on in there, trying to get some aggression. Gets into the brush, wanders out, and they are just making sure that Pyosik isn't going to be towards the top side.
Yeah, create some vision as well, and possible invade. I don't think there's that much you can do about this. You might see a split map scenario where if Bauernbecker can take control of the wave early on, Solka, I think, might be able to get early prio here, although it is going to cost him a lot in terms of health and mana if he's not careful. But the nice thing about this is that then we just get a split map, which is really bad for Kingen because he is going to get bullied in this matchup early on, and there is a Lee Sin that is near him, and he can basically not look for an all-in, which I think is actually one of the ways where you can kind of deal with this situation, because he needs to respect the fact that Dread is probably around.
Yes. Orianna, pretty good into this matchup. Pretty glad that we've got Kuro on the desk here today, because of course he has played in the Victor Orianna matchup many, many times throughout his career. As Dread not going to be able to find the Sonic Wave there as he continues what looks to be... Okay, this is the greedy variety, the 3-buff version. As he's going to go down and look for his Raptors into his red.
Yeah, and like maybe Pioshi can like find out. He will be pathing around that ward, so maybe he can look for an invade. But he's also gone for Conqueror. That's a really long wraparound that he's taken there. So, which it's understandable because he doesn't actually know whether or not his jungle is safe. Unfortunately for him. Oh, actually, no.
I mean,
talk about
Dread did walk
mid. Yeah, it's like in that regard, I don't really know. Like, because it keeps your position hidden, but there's also nowhere that you could actually be. But he doesn't want to risk it. Maybe in case of like a double bluff wraparound. And this just leads to Pioshi really, really far behind. And I don't think they can play for that topside scuttle, so this might be a free buff double scuttle start for Dread, which is pretty disgusting. This makes it make a little bit more sense though.
Yeah, this is, it feels like a bit of an all or nothing play though, because if they don't manage to get a kill or anything here, then it's exactly what you were talking about. It's no mark for the Kindred, it's triple buff and double scuttle, but Keen is going to face check this. Immediately, he's ignited as they're taking a lot of damage from the minions. The flash does come out as Keen's trying to get it back. He's down extraordinarily low. The snips out of range. And now Dread's here. Pioshik's in a bit of trouble now as there's the flash. The Q will connect and now Kingen is next on the menu. Oh my goodness, it was a gamble and unfortunately it was Snake Eyes for DRX.
Oh, and he needs to give up a multitude of minions there as well, because he needs to go for the back first, because he can't stay near the turret. The back gets cancelled by Keen instantly teleporting. That's an entire wave of minions going in. And the first game was literally decided in the first 5 minutes. Then it was a level 2 solo kill. This time, Afreeca makes great use of the level 1 power that they have available. The Lee Sin, the threat of a Braum. And it's an all or nothing flip on top side. They don't get the kill. Dread gets the counter gank. Disaster.
Yep, and Scuttle was claimed on the top side, and that was the one with the mark. So it is going to be a Scuttle each. So, not double Scuttle like we were possibly assuming.
It's something.
But instead, it was the kills. As we're going to check out Keen's Pro View. As, this snip. Oh my goodness, just out of range.
킨드 프리스 나 텔로 와야 돼. 걔 점화 있다 진혁아.
Of course, he's pinging flashes and everything like that. Right on time as well. Like it a lot.
Oh man, I need a moment to like, this is such a disheartening start to the game, where even though the rest of the map is looking pretty decent, this beckons the question, and I think the answer is no. Like, was Destroy the problem? I'm starting to think Keen is just the problem in like, for anyone that is playing against them.
Keen's the problem for every other team.
It's not actually the player that's playing against him, it's just Keen. And this Lucian pick is something that if you can get the punish on it, it can actually be shut down super hard, right? We see this with the Shy,
of course.
Who loves his AD top laners. And now, this is feeling like vintage Afreeca. And now Fly, Leo, and Lance, all they have to do is not die. Literally, and this is not like in a negative way, like that I don't expect them to be able to do that. That's all they need to do. Just sit tight and watch Keen.
Finally does come out. Dread's here, King in.
They can't fight this. Keen 6 is like, it's impossible.
Well, Fly's in a bit of trouble here. He's having a bit of a boogie in the Chaos Storm, but we'll just wander on out. Had the dissonance movement speed there as Pioshik's going to clear out this control ward. But enough damage has been done this point in the game for Afreeca to feel pretty comfortable. It is a decent advantage for Bao on the bottom side, but I believe with the wave crashing in, it will equalize pretty effectively here for Afreeca.
Now, unlike game 1, this isn't all doom and gloom. This is looking very bad. I gotta be honest, it's not good. It's a 1k gold, a 1.5k gold lead even, 6.5 minutes in. But unlike the last game, DRX does this time have a composition that actually will allow them to fight back. Surely, it's gonna take quite a while.
Oh, that was a little bit of a delay there from Dread. Slightly unfortunate, couldn't quite get the ward out in time. We don't actually often see these safeguard hop misplays, but Dread just not quite finding the timing there.
Yeah.
What it felt like to me anyway, I don't know, maybe my brain processed it differently.
No, not 100% sure. I feel like he could have hit that. But some things are like, it's not the end of the world. You use a pink and Solka has no flash. So it's a trade you'll take any time of the day.
Yep.
Another mark. Scuttle gets picked up by Dread. I actually do think, I need to check, that Pioshik's Scuttle on bot side did spawn a mark at like the very end, just before he got it, so he might be on 1 mark. But 1 mark is not where you want to be at Kinry, you want to be at 4, and that requires either invades, which are not happening, or kills, which are probably also not happening. So, as a whole, it's not a great place to be, as Dread and Keen are very far ahead in terms of gold. Lane is also, it looks like, pushing away from Kingen.
That was a bit cute, Keen. Working out where Kingen is as he hops into the bubble, just to make sure that he can still get damage down onto the Gwen. Will throw out some needlework and run away. Of course, Dread not able to get into position here. Good stun from Solka. Another Chaos Storm to go down. As Fly not in too much trouble here.
Quite like that play from Kingen. Really good use of the Hallowed Mist. Able to also then use his needles on the wave to make sure that there is no dive possibility. Because sure, you can hit them on the champions for some sustain, and then the wave crashes and like they kill you anyway. You're like, oh, well, that wasn't great. Not what you want. And maybe even possible Infernal Drake here for DRX, which is going to buy them a lot of time. Looks like it's the bleeding from the gold, it also has been somewhat mitigated. Pioshik is going to pick up a mark here. Sure, we're going to see if this is his second or if it is indeed his first one. It will be his second. Yep.
But, well, not the worst. Still not great, but
yeah,
not the worst. As okay, we're going to grab some more plates here on the top side. Is Keen and Dread, and of course Shelly will be popped down, and that is going to guarantee first turret blood over to Keen's Lucian, which, if you're a DRX fan, feels suboptimal. And Pioshik over here will be able to trade that one for the Infernal Drake. So at least this time around, DRX, they're getting things back for themselves, right? As that's a second charge for Shelly. A lot of value there from her. Nice work. And Afreeca tidy up the bottom lane. So 5 CS is in it on the bottom side of the map. Bao doing his very best to continue scaling.
Pioshik, you see that Sheen? He might go for Divine Sunderer as well. He's been a very adamant Kraken Slayer player for the longest time. Like, there's a lot of Kindred players, right? And there's a lot of different builds that you see. But he's the one who always conquer, always goes for the Kraken Slayer. So the fact that even that man is swapping his build must mean Divine Sunderer is really broken.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, and unlike the last game, I think you can notice the difference. We're not fully memeing it up because this game is actually, this still needs to be won. It's looking good for Afreeca. They're doing really well at leveraging their gold lead. But if Kingen can now set up a freeze, the first Drake has been taken, which means that no matter what happens, DRX are going to have 5 extra minutes to hit spikes and stave off a possible soul. And I think they can actually still scale back into this game. And we joke about it, but this is not a position like last game where I'm like, Afreeca, this is like 100% one. Like, you cannot lose this.
Yeah, right. No, I agree. And because they had the scaling advantage so considerably
in the
first game,
Yep.
It just felt like there was that air of inevitability extraordinarily early. Not the case this time. Afreeca, of course, will still be fine heading into a late game, but you compare things like Varus and Jinx, and obviously Jinx is, in a hyper carry late game situation, going to be feeling a whole bunch better.
It's the range advantage that you have, right? Because as DRX, you have the opportunity, you can go in on the Afreeca, even though you don't really want to, because you're going into a Braum, which never feels great, and then from behind that Braum, there's an Orianna, and Leo can fire shots at you, and King can do stuff. But in an even situation later in the game, King goes in!
Yeah, looking for the needlework. Keen burning down to the Ignite. King running out of mana a little bit here, as Pioshik looking to come on over and just grab himself the kill. See, Keen is sensing it, looking to get out of here.
He knows.
Yep, Dance of Arrows will get Pioshik over the wall, but he'll get the bad news. It's Keen, I hope you're not shopping. And he might have been, but does move himself out of the way. As Dread understands that there's a bunch of minions to be taken here on the top side, as he takes the Wolf camp first.
Question here becomes, who is better, Keen the player or Gwen the champion? And even as good as Keen is, I'm like, I don't know the answer to that one actually, if I think about it, because of course, the Guildforce wasn't finished for Keen yet, but still, the fact that Gwen can do that.
And also Gwen is sort of uniquely good at these types of matchups, right? The melee versus range, just with the fact that her mist makes things so difficult for you to engage. Being in melee range against a melee champion as a range champion, not great news as Pyoshik gets out of the way.
He didn't know, but he's going to feel good about that one. Still gets taken.
The result's still going to be bad, yeah.
But...
Did you hear the Korean casters in the background as well? They're like, oh! And I'm sitting here going, well, he lost his red.
Yeah.
It's not very good. It's sort of a jaded approach. I shouldn't have that.
No, I
apologize, everyone.
I get it, but I got extra excited. You know, it's
no, I'm glad you balanced it out. Yeah. You balanced it out. Beautifully done. Beautifully done.
I also need pushback, otherwise I get excited about everything all the time, and then it's just like, can you calm down, please?
Yes, indeed.
And I think the state of the game right now is one where Afreeca is feeling good, but they're not feeling great. They need to actually find a way to consistently push in. I really like what we saw them do there, pick up those buffs, you know, because the gold lead actually not getting bigger, and as you say, I think they're fine in late game scenarios, their damage will always remain relevant, but late game fights around objectives are just going to be really awkward due to the fact that you don't have hard engage and they have a Jinx and a Victor, which if you just like two teams kind of standing near each other and like looking at each other menacingly, you're always going to pick those two.
Yeah. And unless they can make something happen around this mid game, which is what I'm looking for Afreeca, especially with my eyes on Dread. Lee Sin hasn't hit his trough just yet as King in, looking for Keen, who Gale Force Relentless pursues away. And he will be absolutely fine. Lucian now with 3 dashes is yeah, that's frustrating.
It's a lot of dashes.
It's a few too many, I think. At least 1 too.
I am not sad about Stridebreaker dash getting removed in an upcoming patch. That is something that I think is very good.
Yeah. No, I agree.
There are not even that many Stridebreakers anymore, but like the item still feels like I don't think you should have a dash actually, Darius. I don't think that's okay. I don't think that's okay.
I think that Darius should have to build Gale Force in order to get it.
Yes.
That's what I feel.
If he does that and he gets me, I'm like, well, that's
exactly. It's like kudos, dude. You build it that way. Respect the stones, but being able to be extra tanky and also extra mobile, it's a rough time. As Super Mega Death Rocket is going to tickle the backside of Dread while he takes down this Drake. Mountain will be collected here by the Afreeca Freecs with the extra early game power that they have. Gromp is going to be the mark. You can see Pyoshik is on the top side. They'll get knowledge that Dread is bottom as this dragon goes down, and Pyoshik walks over a ward, puts down the control ward. And we'll just clear it out and back away. So Fly going to be okay for the moment. There's a bit of a lane swap here as it was Keen hanging out in mid lane. And that is going to continue. Prowler's Claw here for Leo, already done. Still waiting on Bow to complete the Kraken Slayer. And Kingen also looking for his first Mythic as well. The Riftmaker will be coming in relatively soon. He's behind 20 CS, but of course didn't die in that first exchange, so it's not the worst news. Still, all of that experience was a bit of a problem. As Dread says, Shirley, chill out for a second. I'm just going to go take this Shellfish, and he will be able to grab this one as well. So Afreeca starting on their neutral objective Monopoly again.
Interestingly enough, I don't actually know if DRX have... Or rather, if Afreeca have anyone who can deal with Kingen on DRX's side. Once he finishes his Riftmaker, which is getting close now, even with the Tabi spot, I'm pretty sure that he demolishes Fly in 1v1, because it's Gwen, right? Like, Orianna does a combo, and then Gwen isn't dead, and then she out-sustains, out-damages, and just generally makes you very unhappy. And that means that the level of acceleration that we're seeing here from Afreeca is, in my opinion, there's still a sizable window. It's not necessary to get really worried yet. They might be able to pick up a mid lane turret here, which is going to open up the map, allow the jungle to be invaded and vision to be set up there. But honestly, as DRX, this is where you're like, okay, you know, the early game looked abhorrent. We really got punished very aggressively, but we haven't really been able to find too much. We picked up the first Drake, you know, it's going to be 8 minutes before they even would have soul points, let alone an actual soul. So, as a whole, I think both teams can feel kind of okay here, interestingly enough.
Or both teams can feel a little bit nervous here, I guess, and we'll see who's going to react to it better. As it is currently, like you say, 2,000 gold lead for Afreeca, but the acceleration has certainly not been there. It feels like that gap has been around for a very long time. It is going to be the Ocean Soul this time, as of course we are allergic to Cloud Souls these days. Kind of miss them, not gonna lie. I like the sort of swirly
That's
riff.
that's such a nostalgia thing, right? Where you're like, when it was happening, like, oh, Cloud Soul again, and I really miss them.
Yeah, really miss them.
It's like me and Dutch Weather. It's like, no, it's actually not good at all. Like, you should not feel any nostalgia for that.
I mean, in comparison to how extraordinarily hot it is at the moment here in
No.
Korea, I could completely understand.
It's a trap. It's nostalgia. It's actually not great.
All right. I'll
Take my word for it.
I'll take your word for it. It was very rainy when I was in the Netherlands the last time around.
That is very appropriate. Yes,
Yep.
that is how we do. And it's an interesting one. I think that Afreeca can always win games later in the, or win fights rather later in the game. But the level of execution required is going to be a lot harder. The amount of survivability provided by the DRX comp and the items that are going to be finished at that point in time are really gonna have Afreeca to like show something that I don't think they've really shown, which is like, actually no, the team fighting has been pretty good, but I think it's going to be hard.
Yeah, I also think that, you know, the amount of win conditions that DRX have with this composition is just higher, right? Because they have the split push win condition. And when you have sort of like that control of a side lane, you really can make your opponents a bit more predictable and put them in positions where you can force them around the map. And that is very valuable, as we have learned. So looking to see how Afreeca mitigates it, because if they can actually force, which you've already illustrated, they don't have that many opportunities for hard engage. But if Dread gets into the backline, finds a sick Lee Sin flank with some kicks and things like that, then they can really put some spanners in the works. As Leo going to be right up close and personal with this outer turret on the bottom side. Bao's going to move on in as Lahens. Yeah, not going to be able to find the Winter's Bite because there's a pesky minion in the way, and Bao does deal with the minion wave. So, yeah, Afreeca with 4 members down here, not going to be able to find the dive as Pyoshik gets tagged. And another thing we didn't mention is this is Kindred against Kindred's worst enemy in the Lee Sin. Of course, put down the Lamb's Spite and then you get booted out of it and you feel really bad. So we'll see how that is navigated in the later stages as well.
It's not great. Not very happy about it. Then again, oh, Pyoshik.
All right, stand beside me there for Lahens. Solar Flare going to find a slow, but otherwise not too much more. And now that is a pretty decent tool off the board. 10 seconds on this Ocean Drake.
That's interesting.
Okay. That's Chains of Corruption landing. And the Glacial Fissure is going to come through as well. Sonic Wave doesn't connect, but that's a lot of poke damage down onto DRX. And Pyoshik especially, but he does still have Lamb's Respite. It looks like Afreeca getting closed in upon. As Becca goes in, Zenith Blade is there, Super Mega Death Rocket connects onto just Dread. As Keen is going to give Becca and King a back massage. That's about all it is right here. And now, it's DRX able to turn onto the 3 members of Afreeca Freecs. Afreeca now moving on over, not going to quite find the Shockwave as Lamb's Respite comes in. Pyoshik gets the heal back, and Afreeca still finding it. Leo gets the empowered Q. And goodbye, Pyoshik. Took a long time for a kill to actually come in there. The jostling for position was ridiculous, but Afreeca, they don't find the Drake, but they do find the kill.
It's a high-risk play by DRX, and actually I think it works out better than expected. Giving up a kill on Pyoshik is unfortunate, and it's going to make Leo's siege a lot better. But simultaneously, I don't think you need to contest this Drake. I think you can wait for the third one, for the Soul Point one, to really pull the trigger. Instead, they get excited, want to use Bao, but the zoning from Fly there is really, really nice. Pyoshik gets caught by himself, and yeah, him dying there feels a little bit. That's a
lot of damage, right?
It's also like 300 magic damage. Yeah, like, that feels a bit.
You press the Blighted Quiver button, and it's the every time, like whenever you're playing against Avaris, every time he charges up that Q, you're like, is it gonna be the one that kills me? Because like it's the W press, man. It just catches me off guard every single time.
It's always terrifying, and I'm really happy that you have to, like, as Varus commits to pressing the W before you charge your Q, so you can at least like know, like, this is the one. This is the one that cannot hit me. Yeah. And I don't know how I feel about that, because like I said, I think DRX's call here is this is gonna just buy us 5 more minutes. But giving over that extra kill does mean that, like I said, the acceleration of Leo might be hard for you to deal with. And I think Afreeca can now use that extra money that they have to take more control of your jungle. And if they actually get a Baron at some point, start knocking down your inners, the scaling that we talk about is going to become more like really, really hoping. than actually having a consistent win condition there. So it's risky. I feel like DRX feel like they're not as far behind as they actually are, if that makes sense. I feel like they're like, no, we're a teamfight comp. We can fight this. Fly needs to flash.
Yeah, does so. Gets himself out of the way. Dissonance going to be there. Extra movement speed. Going to be all right. Creeping up on 5,000 gold, the lead, as red buff is going to be the option next for Pyosik as Keen. This is about the time where he might need to become a little bit more cautious of the Gwen. As Lahen's just over here defending this red buff, which was there taken by Leo. Not very many of them actually gained by Pyosik. As Q connects, and I believe also it was Keen that collected the red buff on the bottom side. And so that's another mark denied. But Pyosik does have a few. I don't know whether he's quite up to 4 yet, but I think he's I think he might be. So the mark issue, not quite one that's as much of a big deal.
Yeah, the more range you get, the better you're going to feel against this composition from Afreeca, because Keen, Dread in particular, needs to get close up. Of course, Fly will still outrange you. Leo's self-explanatory. If you can't get within his range, you're really happy, but not quite yet. And Kingen also going for the Natural's Tooth, which in this scenario makes a lot of sense. I think you want to optimize your split, put pressure, because your 4-man unit can it can wave clear, it can engage, it can disengage, it can basically do anything that you want it to do. So making Kingen stronger in a 1v1 scenario and in taking down turrets, as opposed to what we often see as the Zhonya's or maybe a Cosmic Drive for more team fighting prowess, is, I think, a nice adaptation. 4k gold is surmountable, and DRX, just don't contest this one, please. Just let them have it. You're still... Like, you'll find, just wait for your third item on bow. Sorka just now finishing his. Pyosik is also looking towards the second one, not quite there as of yet. Kingen just finishes his Natural's Tooth, so the sideline pressure is going to be even better.
I like this, actually. Kingen really committing to more of that side lane style. And this is the first time we've seen Nash's second here in the LCK. It was the thing that I really wanted first, is Bao taking so much damage here. As actually, we're also going to connect the Chains of Corruption. Becca has to break his stopwatch, but I don't even know whether it's going to be enough. Still taking so much damage, and Leo, just the tip is enough to take down the Leona. His namesake. It felt a bit weird saying Leo took down Leo, but it happened, as there is a back stopped by Pyosik. And man, Leo's having a day today.
He didn't even finish his Muramana yet at that point. That's the worst part about that. It's honestly a really nice catch. Starts with the Jinx being a little bit out of position, Bao using his Guild Force, but just to preemptively keep his team safe, that forces Becca to move forward there. And yeah, if you get hit by knock-up, you're also dead. It feels like kind of a lose-lose situation. I think maybe flashing there would have been better for Becca, as it is the final... And Pyosik has ultimate as well there, right? Like, I don't think he thought that would hit, because it was like just the end of the arrow that clips him. But agree with you, Leo has been having an incredible time, and Afreeca as a whole are feeling so much more consistent than the team that we used to see in spring. And personally, I'm all there for it, because I think if we see KT rise up, right? If Afreeca becomes another team...
That was very cheeky.
Okay.
Does make his way out to safety, but...
Brave man.
I don't know, was that a mark?
Ooh, that's a very good question. It could be. And if Pyosik is... I think he's still on the 3 marks. I don't actually
I forgot to check. I apologize to everyone at home. I assume it probably was, which is why he decided to dive on in there.
Yeah.
Makes the play a lot better.
And... he's gone for the Divine Sundera into a rapid fire cannon, so that means that like that first order that you get with Kindred, especially when you open, is going to be real good. Also really nice feeling when you get your E on someone, but yeah, if you don't have the marks, then it's not going to feel nearly as good.
Edge of Night done here for Leo. Put that one together for himself, so going to be even more able to walk up with Reckless Abandon. Not going to have to worry about stray solar flares, which is going to be the main issue. As Dread just hanging out here. Sulker is going to be frustrating, but Dread feeling like he has absolutely no cares in the world. Just so happy that he gets to play Lee Sin again. Because, of course, that was one of his favorite champions, and then Lee Sin just plummeted out of the meta. He was like, dang it, I have to play all these other things. And then his Elise got taken away and all sorts of other stuff. As Leo, Prowler's glorying forward. Not really caring. Yeah, also...
Red Olaf?
Yep, Olaf getting gutted. Man, it's the world against Dread, really, when it comes to his champion pool. But thankfully, Lee Sin's come back.
Maybe he's just really good. Like, I don't really consider that option.
Yep. There's just this one guy on the balance team that just looks at his solo queue and he's like, oh no, this is obviously much too strong. Look at what Dread's doing. As Kingen just going to snip the bottom lane. And there is another mark available.
It's level 16.
Sorry, Pioshik's a long way away. Yeah, Keen actually a level behind, so Kingen's been doing a decent job here. He's got himself the Giant Spell. We'll see what that turns into.
Yes, a Demonic Embrace. Although if he goes for Renduin's here, I'd actually love it.
I'd love the Renduin's.
That would make me very happy rather, if that happens.
Yeah, it looks like it is going to be the Demonic Embrace.
Makes more sense.
Yeah. Like, a lot of my brain wanted to say Rylai's, but that's not how that's built anymore. Yeah, it's frustrating. All of these recipes getting changed. Don't even know how to make a souffle anymore. It's just, it's all out of the brain.
Souffles are notoriously hard. Like I can't really fault you for that.
That's actually, and the recipe isn't really the issue with the souffle.
No, it's the technical aspect of it, you know?
Yeah, that's the problem.
It's like Lee Sin. Mechanically, it's pretty or like conceptually, it's pretty straightforward. But actually playing him, and they're like, what?
Yep. You remember when Lee Sin first came out, everyone was like, this champion's terrible. And then they learned all of the really fun stuff you could do, and you know, Insect existed and things like that. And
yeah, I feel like
we realized that he was extraordinarily overtuned.
Because, you know, that happened with Lilia, and it happened with Gwen, and it happened with like so many others.
No, but I feel like after oh, okay, Kingen, looking for Dread here. I feel like Dread came out ridiculous, as there's the kick, okay. Sure, as Kingen is actually getting surrounded. Should have the dash back available. There he is, over the wall. But behind enemy lines.
Oh, that's 5. Why didn't you get for Baron? You don't need the 5th mark.
Yeah.
Hey, you have 4. Don't be greedy.
They could take it in a turret, but as you mentioned, the Baron was on the cards, and therefore, Kingen's going to be able to get a free back here. So getting ran around the map here, and this is exactly what we were talking about.
Good.
DRX can split Afreeca up, and then if they fail to actually collapse on either half, then this happens. You just get stuff for free.
This is really nice by DRX.
It's real sneaky. I like the sneakiness.
It is. Oh man, fun game. You know, it's of course we're 30 minutes in and we average 1 kill every 10 minutes.
Yep. I remember when I used to cast a region where it was a kill per minute, and now we're lucky to get a kill per 10. Oh,
what do you prefer though? I mean, obviously LCK because you're here.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
really.
What style of game do I prefer? I much prefer the kill per minute because it's just a lot of yelling about stuff. I feel valuable. You know, as ships in the night, Kingen knew that it wasn't the time yet. We'd only just ticked over as, okay, pop goes the Pioshik. Not even allowed to press his R button. Okay, no respite for you. And now Kingen is forced to come back with the rest of the team, and this is the problem. If Afreeca is successful, then they get to take free dragons like this.
And this is where I guess the Dragon fight actually pays off because now they don't lose soul point. They just lose, or sorry, they don't lose soul, they just lose soul point. It's something. It's not great, but
it took me a while, like a couple of seconds to realize where your optimism was coming from. But now he's gone back in time and collected it from elsewhere. I like it.
Yes.
I like it.
But it's still not great. This is like the 2nd or 3rd time that Pioshik or someone on his team gets caught with Lamp's Respite up. We don't love that. Yeah, it is.
I'm pretty sure you can still press the button when you're rooted, right?
Yeah, no, you can. I thought it was the Braum stun, and in which case it's like, yes, you cannot do anything, but no, he definitely could.
No, Lehenz's Braum comes with one that stacks his passive all the way up as soon as you hit a Winter Spite. He gets an upgraded Q because he's Lehenz.
He's a fan of the Halo Blades Braum, the forbidden tech.
Yep.
You just jump in and you play like an
I love it. I love the Halo Blades Braum. I don't remember when it happened first, but it was a long time ago, and I was like, oh my god, it's genius.
Actually amazing.
Super good. Well, there's a sweet helmet for Kingen.
Yeah.
Look at how color coordinated those items are. It looks like a set from World of Warcraft.
It does.
You know, it should have a set bonus
as well.
We should have a set bonus.
You know, you have like the staff in one hand, and then you have the sword, and then you have the mask on.
Yeah, we need a robe. Oh, what's the robe that goes along with this build?
I mean, maybe Spirit Visage?
Oh yeah, but it's not the right color.
Nah, it's
Maybe
not
Force
really.
of Nature? Maybe Force of Nature
Yeah, it's
looks
the plate
okay.
armor, but that's a terrible item. It's fine. Do it for
It's for the look. It's for the look.
consistency.
Yeah. Something, yeah, I mean, especially in this game, it's woeful. So it's not even going to talk about it. As Afreeca are looking to clear out some vision. And we have a lot of vision on the Baron at the moment. Afreeca need to pull the trigger. Now, what we need is for Afreeca to pass the test that Life Esports failed, which was actually committing to taking a Baron and being decisive. Because if you're indecisive, Kingen does this, where he just takes your entire base. And now Afreeca, they have started it off. Are they going to commit is the question, as Kingen back into the fog of war. And Leo, of course, he's got his Edge of Night. He's actually feeling pretty comfortable here, as there's the turn. The teleport comes in from Kingen, though, so the punish is not going to be massive. Becca, though, gets tagged with the Q. He's going to get taken down. Dread does go gold, and the rest of the team wrapping around, though, as there's the kick flash. Bao picks up the kill with the flash, though, and there's the shockwave. It's decent, but not quite enough, as Pioshik this time presses the R button. Lahens hanging out there in that Lambswell spike to keep himself alive. And in the end, it is a 1-for-1. Jungler for support, though, and means that that Baron pressure is null.
And you got the turret. So this is a win of DRX. You just delay the map. You're able to find the play that you're looking for. It's not amazing. There were a lot of moments there where I feel like if they played a little bit more cohesive, if Solka also flashes
I mean, if Leo pressed his R button, perhaps it would have been better too.
Yeah, presumably. Didn't even say that the Chains of Corruption weren't used. And this started kind of rough because they hard engage on top of a Braum. But this Solar Flare is beautiful. And the fact that Dread goes in there shows a lot, like kind of a lack of cohesiveness with the rest of his team, because he's the one that actually makes the Jinx go and pop off. Beautiful shockwave from Fly, but otherwise the team fight is super doomed. And both teams, back to back, not really on the same page. Like one half of the team wants to go in, other half of the team wants to go back. It's not as clean of team fighting as we've seen from either of these two teams, and it also begs the question, what is going to happen in the next one? Because at this point, the Afreeca gold lead is basically insignificant. There's no soul picked up for either team, and DRX are now well and truly online. And while Gwen has built for the split push, she is still a huge danger for Afreeca in the team fights.
Yeah, it's getting more and more terrifying, the fact that Kingen exists, right? As he's now got a stopwatch as well. Looks like Zhonya's is going to be coming in as the next one. Must be a 3-piece set in the purple and yellow items. And so just going to grab an off-piece in that Zhonya's. Wonder if it's BIS or not, as there are a couple of little wardy things here. But the Baron has been started off yet again. Some vision available here, as we can see. As Becker and Kingen going on over, and there's a control ward in the pit now. It is going to be a 50-50, but it's won by Dread. No, it wasn't, in fact, because that was Kingen. The dive done in, so not able to get there was Pioshik, and that is just going to be Baron picked up for free by the Afreeca Freecs.
And that one you can afford to give away, but if you get Soul as well, it might very well be game over for DRX. Ocean Soul is so incredibly valuable. Teleport coming in here. They're all running towards the Drake pit.
Yep, and this Ocean Soul, like you mentioned, it's going to be really rough for Kingen to continue that split push as well. There's the Chains of Corruption. Becca getting taken down so low. That's the last hit with a shockwave, but I like it. Just skew the numbers in the next fight. 5 seconds until this Ocean Soul is available, and I think Afreeca may have cracked it.
I agree that repeated attempt at the Baron, the first one doesn't really work out, and this is the difference between this Afreeca and the Afreeca we saw last split. The consistency. They know, sure, doesn't work out the first time. They don't go for a green play. They just say, we set up the vision, we set up the Baron in the exact same way, we play it out cleanly, and it's working out perfectly. Now they have the Ocean Soul. Their fighting power is incredibly hard to deal with, and it's going to take a Hail Mary play from DRX, which they are setting up for.
Yep, Pioshik. He was spotted, but Afreeca are just going to wander towards the inhibitors. As you may expect, Fly's bottom lane, but he's got teleport. As Kane, he can dash 400 different times, and so of course they're not going to be able to find that engagement. He's also got his GA complete, 006, which makes him Electravelian, played by Sean Bean in GoldenEye, which is pretty cool.
Wow. It's a specific reference. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I've said that one a couple of times in my career.
I figured. It was at the ready. And like I said, Hail Mary also looks like the GA available here for Keen. Stopwatch still available for Leo. All summoners up. Make it so much harder. And with Baron, the aforementioned like somewhat short range on the side of Afreeca is basically fully alleviated, right? Yes, you always will have the siege from a possible Calling or Leo going in, but now it becomes really, really easy. I think we might see a 4th item come out here for Bao, and while it's looking really good, it's still not over because DRX can win a single team fight and basically win the game off of that, right?
Yes.
We're getting into like 35, 40 minutes territory, which, do not forget, that's where they excel. Pioshik also gone for, it's literally just like a full pop-off build, I guess, where you just like run really big auto and then hope you collect a pro.
It's like, how many cannons can I purchase? And I guess at least 2 is the question. What is a Divine Sundra? I don't really know what
it's like a battle axe.
Oh, well, that's not a cannon.
No.
It's quite disappointing. So that's
Again,
what I was really looking for.
The lack of consistency is worrying, you know?
Yeah.
Bao as well, he's got like a couple of swords and then a gun and a bow. I think, is Guildford's a bow? I think it is, right?
No, Guildford. Yeah, it's a bow. Sorry, yeah. You're absolutely correct. Does Keen just cull some people? Keen's going to be able to put down his circle and he'll be absolutely fine as the rest of Afreeca looking to continue the push. And taken down quite low. A possible opportunity here as Pioshik has to ult. Oh no, that's a lot of their power missing. Chains of Corruption have been put on cooldown though, and the culling's not available just yet. Kingin looking to take down Keen, but he has to move out of his circle and it's a bit too dangerous. Fly cops some needlework, but of course Kingin can't proc the next one. He's too far away. This inhibitor down to 50%. Afreeca slowly but surely just trying to lock this one down, and DRX just look like they don't really know how to answer this. Just taking poke over and over again as Kingin will clear out vision, but that is not the same as actually flanking. DRX, I mean, yes, they have made sure that Afreeca have left. However, Afreeca managed to take 2 inhibitors, so they're still going to be absolutely fine, and they've got Ocean Soul, so the more time they spend uncontested, the more time that they'll just head straight back up to 100% health.
I'm just super excited at the prospect of there being another like legitimately super strong, because this team
Red
is
could be in trouble, but no, flies there.
easily.
And yeah, no issue there at all. Shockwave not going to be able to find the mark as Q connects onto Pioshik. Doesn't have ult, remember, but survives for so long. The flash out and Dread's going to survive. You thought it was a whiff Shockwave, but in the end it's successful as Fly goes golden. There's the knockup from the Glacial Fissure. Solka uses his, but he is going to be taken down. Zonya's not enough. And DRX now limping towards their fountain. Keen, I think accidentally attacked a minion there, but Becca is just going to be given a free pass at this moment. It may not stop these Nexus turrets from just evaporating to the double 80 carries out of Afreeca. Keen gets slowed down, another circle is in place, but Keen's very keen on getting into it. There's the kick into the fountain for Bao, who's now trying to find some rockets, but it ain't going to work. And that will be Afreeca finding the 2-0 over DRX.